The vaccine mandate. Well, we have a vaccine mandate, but not for illegals. They can choose or to do it or not. And 40% of them choose not to do it. Well, it's absolutely amazing to me that at the same time they're taking everything away from Americans, they don't care. It's like, oh, it's your choice. Oh, you don't want to get it? Okay, well, that's fine. But of course, it's not surprising, is it? Anytime you see something that is insane, that is contradictory, hypocritical, all these other things, it's part of the plan. It's not an accident that this is happening. A mandate that will require 17 million American healthcare workers from the, rubber stamped by the Supreme Court, healthcare workers. But of course, if you are illegal alien, you can come in, and it's not just the healthcare workers. You've got the big corporations like Walmart, McDonald's, Goldman Sachs are saying, well, you're going to have it in order to work for us. So are the illegals going to be able to get jobs at McDonald's, at Goldman Sachs? Well, maybe they're not going to have jobs. Maybe they'll just be on taxpayer welfare. Maybe they'll just be dependent voters for the Democrats, which is really what they want. Republicans want cheap labor. Democrats want dependent voters. And so the problem is that in reporting this, Breitbart pushes the fear-mongering of the pandemic in order to push division. What they say is, instead of saying, well, obviously this is not a problem, is it? Have we seen in places where there are more illegal aliens coming in that are not vaccinated, have we seen these COVID cases exploding? No. Where have we seen them exploding? In places like Vermont, where you've got a high, I think it's Vermont, it's the Northeast typically, all the states where you have mass vaccination. Now, we have seen in California, there's a lot of illegal immigration in California, but California versus Texas, no, the difference is in the vaccination program. It's not with the illegal aliens that are coming across. And yet, that's the angle that Breitbart takes. The coronavirus infections have exploded in recent months because of these ICE detention facilities and not getting people vaccinated. They continue to push this idea that somehow if we got people vaccinated, we would not have this rise in cases, when the reality is that the vaccination rates are directly correlated to the rise in cases. But it's even stranger than that if you stop and take a look at what they're doing. This ought to be a big red flag to people. It's not just stupidity. It's not hypocrisy. It's not irony. It's not any of these things. It is a plan. If you look at California, even as California is going to give free health care to people who are undocumented, California is pushing the nurses out of the hospitals. Who's going to give them the free health care? I mean, you can throw money at it, but you got to have somebody there who knows what they're doing, right? And so, no jab, no problemo. We got free health care insurance for you. Come on in. And not only that, but that is happening at the same time that you have Republicans as well as Democrats. Establishment Republicans like the Huntsman family in Utah that runs the largest paper in the state. These establishment globalist Republicans are pushing the same things that Democrats are to say, let's make health care unattainable for the unvaccinated. Now, they say, we're not going to let them have any COVID health care, or we're going to charge them an arm and a leg, or we're going to raise their insurance rates, or we're going to deny any health care payments from insurance if the people who aren't vaccinated get COVID. But it's not just limited to that. We've seen all kinds of health care already denied to people because of their vaccination status. And yet, they offer free, unlimited health care to illegal aliens, 40% of whom are unvaccinated. So you understand that there's a different agenda here. This is what I'm talking about. There's an agenda, and it's not Republican, Democrat. They're trying to divide us. They're trying to destroy our society. That was what the economic sanctions were all about. That began under President Trump. The economic sanctions against us were to destroy America, to destroy the middle class, to destroy the foundations of this country so they could build back their dystopian paradise for them. So they're going to take away the insurance from the unjabbed Americans or make it too expensive, unaffordable, remove health care for us while they provide it for free to people who are coming in, 40% of whom decline the vaccine, as is their right to do, by the way. They're not the bad people on this. The government is. The government has incentivized this immigration. They put a giant magnet there. Come on in. We'll give you all kinds of benefits, such as free health care. We'll let you vote, even if you don't want to become a citizen, even if you don't have enough of a interest in this country to go through a joke citizenship process. I mean, you look at the citizenship process for America versus someplace like Switzerland. Switzerland, you have to live there for like a decade or something. You have to have references from a lot of people. Anybody can basically blackball you. And then you have to, so you have to live there. They have to look at your life and make sure that you're not a problem for people, that you accept that society and so forth. And you have to have financial capability to support yourself, many, many other things. And yet for us, it's just, oh, come on in. You know, and even if you weren't born in America, if you're somebody like, well, I don't know, Marco Rubio or Ted Cruz, you can run for president, even though the Constitution says that you're not qualified. And these people who present themselves as, oh, I'm a conservative defending the Constitution, like Cruz. This is the Daily Beast talking about this. And even the Daily Beast looks at this and says, you know, there's something not right about this. The writer at the Daily Beast says, Newsom took a whack at proposing the annual state budget, and out of the piñata flew a tasty treat, a plan to expand Medi-Cal, the state's health care program for the economically disadvantaged, so that it pays the health care expenses of all the state's low-income adults, including those who are undocumented. In other words, illegal aliens. That's Daily Beast calling them undocumented. Given that sinking feeling, do I get any credit for being an undocumented medical entity or whatever? We should have some kind of undocumented medical status. You know, I'm sorry, I don't have my identity papers. I don't have my vaccine passport. Yes, I'm undocumented. Oh, well, that's fine. You can go your way. No, they're not going to do that. No Jedi mind tricks coming from these people. So you can be undocumented in one way, but not the other. Given that sinking feeling of economic calamity, says this writer for the Daily Beast, who, by the way, this writer says, you know, my family is Mexican, and the Daily Beast writer says, given that sinking feeling of economic calamity, the idea of providing more health care coverage to people who are not in this country legally will be tough to swallow for many folks in the Golden State, and I totally get that. There is something about what Newsom is proposing that also really sticks in my craw. However, he goes on to say, or she, no, I don't have the name here. He or she goes on to say, the Daily Beast writer goes on to say, but, you know, it's not really a problem because, you know, California's got such a big budget. It's not a problem. Big budget, big problem. Bigger budget, bigger problem. And so this is the defense of this irresponsible action, which is not sustainable, frankly. There is no upper limit on this entitlement program. It's not even limited by the population. You see, the socialism was always unsustainable, but now they're making sure that it's unsustainable because it's not even limited to benefits given to the population. This is open-ended. Anybody who wants to come here, they don't have to get any permission or go through any vetting or have any means of support. Everybody's going to be entitled to whatever they can get for free. And so there is no end to it. And that's why this is, as I've said for the longest time, Cloward and Piven process. This was a couple of Democrats saying, you know, we thought that the welfare state would collapse, but it hasn't. And so, you know, let's do it a little bit faster. Cloward and Piven was about collapsing us economically. And that's what this open border process, that's what this free insurance for anybody, whatever country they come from. It's not just Mexico, it's any country. Come here from anywhere in the world, we'll give you free health care in California. And so this person says, well, I get it, but, you know, just understand, we are the Golden State. And we're called the Golden State because we've got so much gold. California's GDP was $3.35 trillion, 14.6% of the national total. Well, just think about what a irresponsible politician can do when they start spending money, whether the irresponsible politician is Gavin Newsom or Donald Trump. This person says, do you realize how big California is? $3.35 trillion. Do you realize that in just one aspect of what Trump did, and that's not even counting all of the entitlement programs that Trump put in there for hospitals and others, right? That was all open-ended. But, you know, in one of these spending bills, opposed only by Thomas Massie, and Trump was livid, furious. I'm going to get him out. I'm going to get him. I'm going to get that guy for opposing me for spending $3.7 trillion. They're saying California's GDP is $3.35 trillion. That's almost 15% of the national total. Well, guess what? Trump in one fell swoop squandered more than 15% of the nation's GDP. And I say squandered because none of that was necessary. That was all done in order to incentivize governors to do the lockdown. None of the money was taken back when the governors acted like petty Soviet tyrants either, because that's always the hallmark of how they control things, is through money. You know, and that's the control. You look at what happened with the Supreme Court. The mandate that was tied to money, the CMS, for the medical workers, was like, well, you do what we say, we're going to pull the money back. Well, that was allowed to go through. But the one that says, well, we're going to prohibit this, we're going to prohibit and punish you from doing this, that one was stopped. Partly because we have taken the approach that whatever, fiat currency the Federal Reserve wants to throw at anything, that's really the power of the federal government, is the purse, the power of the purse. The unlimited, thanks to the MMT, the modern monetary theory, which is an extension of Keynesianism, that unlimited ability to spend money, that bottomless purse that they have, they can use to manipulate and control everybody. And if you don't take the money back when they do the wrong thing, then you don't think they're doing the wrong thing, because that's the way that this is always done from Washington. They don't bother typically by putting out mandates and fines. Typically what they do is they fund it and offer a carrot, offer a lot of money, offer bribes. And then if you don't comply, they take the money back. That's not what Trump did, is it? So companies are now telling the unvaccinated workers that they got to pay more for health insurance. Oh, you bet. Because when you look at the companies, or you look at the health insurance companies themselves, just like that CEO of One America, the $100 billion health insurance company, he lied about what's going on. He said, well, look at this. We've had way, way more people dying of all kinds of strange things, not from COVID. Third quarter and fourth quarter this last year is when it started, after people had the vaccine for a while, right? And he said, now they're dying from all kinds of things. We'll tell you why that is coming up. But then he said, but I think that they mislabeled all of those deaths. So you think about how many deaths that are. This is something that he says is a once in 200-year event, that it's more than 3 standard deviations from the mean out, which means that it's more than 99.73. That's covered within those 3 standard deviations from the mean. No, this is beyond that. This has a probability of happening of less than 0.25%. And yet he believes that all of those 99.75% of the diagnoses were wrong, because he just knows. He knows that it's COVID. But we talk about women having intuition. That's nothing compared to a CEO who can sniff money. Oh, he's got an intuition about this. I know that's not right. I know all of those are misdiagnosed. I know that this is really COVID. And furthermore, I know that all the people who are getting COVID are the people who are unvaccinated. Therefore, let's charge the unvaccinated more money. Now, what that allows him to do, it gives him a very easily measured metric that he can use to raise insurance rates. And it allows him to target the people that have been declared enemies of the state. And so the government is good with that. The government will support him with that. The government will reward him with that. And he'll also get his money out of that. And that's how this works. Has your news been censored, banned over and over again? Has vital information been held prisoner by mainstream and anti-social media? It's the duty of every thinking person to make the great escape to thedavidknightshow.com. There you'll find links to live streams, videos, audio podcasts, and support links. Live stream the show at DLive and every Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern. Videos at BitChute and YouTube. New audio podcast, The Real David Knight Show, at Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, iHeart, Spotify, and more. But even though there's a light at the end of the tunnel, without your support, the show will run out of gas. The links to support the show are at thedavidknightshow.com to donate via Subscribestar, donate via or donate via Cash App, Bitcoin, or P.O. Box. Our sincere thanks to all of you who have stood with us to get this far. Please don't forget to share the links and pray for the country as well as our family.